In a recent survey, we found 73% of growing companies have a no PO, no pay policy. However, only 23% have any sort of compliance or they're measuring compliance to that policy. Now, if your AP team has recently launched a no PO, no pay policy and you're struggling to enforce it, this video is for you because I'll break down 3 simple strategies that you can implement today to increase the compliance rate. And stick till the end where I will share one tip that most companies overlook, and just implementing that can increase your compliance rate by at least 30%. Now, if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is Sachin Sharma. I am the founder of Procure Desk, where we help growing companies control spending through automation of procurement in AP processes. So let's start. Number 1 is avoiding the approval bottleneck. Number 1 problem when you have a no PO, no pay policy, you want to ensure that all the invoices are mapped to a purchase order. The challenge is most companies don't have a central process to capture the purchase orders and invoices. So now what happens is there is no way to kind of easily match that, and you are digging up old emails to figure out, hey, do we have a PO that matches the invoice? That slows down the entire process. So it's best to define a approval exception or approval process upfront in terms of, okay, first of all, how are we going to match the invoices to purchase orders? Have a central place or a system like Procure Desk. But second is, if there's an exception, who's going to approve that, right? So define that upfront. Number 2 is define a process for emergencies. You set up a process with good exception or good intention. Over a period of time, people have emergencies, right? I just need it now. This is one time, or this is emergency purchase. It all happens, right? All the time. The problem is, over a period of time, that becomes the norm, and your policy have no teeth now, right? So that is one of the reasons why all these processes fail, because you don't define upfront the exception process. So what does exception looks like? Okay, if we need to make an emergency purchase, we can go without a PO, but here are the conditions. So you're upfront looking at when do you need a emergency exception process. Number 3 is communication breakdown. We often see that you communicate it once and then forget, right? So your AP team send an email and say, we are implementing this policy, but it needs continuous reinforcement. You need to at least communicate a couple of times, especially in the beginning, and add it to your employee handbook to make sure that new employees are aware of that, right? So those are 3 simple strategies. Now, there's one tip which I mentioned about in the beginning. So most companies do this. They basically send a non-compliance notice, right? So AP teams will look at who is not complying to the policy within the department, send them an email. And that's fine. Sometimes you do that, but why don't do the reverse of that? So instead of sending an email saying non-compliance, why don't send an email or at least noticing or, rewarding those employees who are following the process? It could be a simple email highlighting these departments have the highest compliance rate to no PO, no pay policy. So what that does is others start seeing that and they know that, oh, I'm the only one who's not following, and they immediately start falling in line. We have seen tremendous result by just this one simple trick. So those were, just to recap, 3 strategies to make sure your no PO, no pay policy can be implemented without drama. Number 1 is make sure you have the approval process, PO matching process defined upfront. Define a process for emergencies. Number 3 is communicate often. If you like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button so you get notified when we release videos like this. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.